Hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining me for the new moon in Scorpio chart reading. This is Vickieverlie, the rock and roll prophetess. I have over 30 years experience in the metaphysical field. I do tarot and astrology and channeling. I'm more of a psychic than a strictly by the book astrologer. So if that's going to bother you, then this might not be the video for you. However, if you do like someone who colors outside the lines and is a more intuitive thing, then maybe this is the forecast for you. If you don't understand astrology at all and you're looking at this like, wow, this looks like a lot of mumbo jumbo, hang in there, because it absolutely starts to get more psychic as we move along. I do use the astrology as a foundation, or maybe even a jumping off point, and then we move forward from there. Okay, so it's a new moon in Scorpio, and it's happening at 12 degrees of Scorpio, and it's happening in November 4th, 5:14 p.m. Eastern time, but times will vary. So the new moon in Scorpio, it's almost like this has a feel of, I know that we just had the ingress into the autumn in the northern hemisphere, but this feels like we're really in it. This feels like the actual, we're taking the plunge into, things are turning dark. And in the northern hemisphere here in the States, we're having a very late fall. I mean, it's already the end of October and the leaves are just barely starting to turn. So I'm feeling like that's probably going to be like when it's really at its peak as well, with the colors and the fall and the autumn. And it's just such a reminder, when I go driving through like the valley we have here. It's called the valley. It's this long park. And it's just such a reminder. The trees always seem to be waving goodbye to me. And they leave with such grace and beauty, and they put on a show, and they don't resist the change. Their leaves are going to be gone soon, but they express it with joy and beauty and peace. There's definitely a feel of peace that abounds from this going into the great unknown, or even death. Scorpio represents death. I mean, it doesn't mean that necessarily somebody's going to die, but there's always death. It's always death and rebirth. I'm just going to light a little smudge here. Excuse me for 1 second. So I really feel like the Scorpio season, but also that new moon in Scorpio every year, that sort of really brings it, really settles in this time of the year, and it just kind of puts it in place and really settles it into place. And with the Scorpio energy leading the way. And there is a dark and seriousness and a serious side to the Scorpio energy. But there's also something really stable about Scorpio energy. There's something really solid, stable, no nonsense. What you see is what you get. Truth in the highest form of the expression there is. Of course, the Scorpio energy is recognized in three different representations. The highest being the eagle, soaring high like the eagle. And that's always, of course, the way that we'd like to go high, soar like the eagle, take the high road, etc. See things from the higher perspective, see things from the highest vantage point. And then there's the low point, the negative expression of the Scorpio energy, and that is the stinging Scorpio. That is, the negative stinging. Scorpios, are formidable. And if you've ever I've seen Scorpios just kind of go off and lose it. And it's just like, you do not want to be in the way of a Scorpio who's, they can rage. They can rage like no other, and they can be really cruel. But that's not the overall vibe from them. Usually, when I've seen that happen, it's when they've been pushed. If you just keep pushing that Scorpio, it's gonna go. It's gonna happen. They're gonna let loose on you eventually. But for the most part, most of the Scorpios that I've known, I've always had really a lot of Scorpio friends. I'm Scorpio rising. I have Venus, Neptune, and Scorpio in first. So I just vibe with Scorpio a lot, and I have, some Pisces and Capricorn. I'm earthy and earth and water and predominantly, and, I really vibe with the Scorpio energy. And some of my closest friends have always been Scorpios. I get along with them well, You'll find that a lot of readers, true psychics, will usually have Scorpio and to some degree Pisces, but really Scorpio has the ability to be in touch with because it rules death. You know, they're kind of in touch. There's an element of being in touch with that, or seeing beyond the veil, or being in touch with the other side. And but yet the Scorpio energy is really able to ground it into the earth too. They're the most grounded of the water signs. They're the most stable. Oh, and then the third expression of the Scorpio energy course is the gray lizard. And that's, you know, just kind of somebody who's, I always think of the gray lizard as somebody who's kind of lost their way. You know, they know they have this power, but they're not wielding it. See, the eagle and the scorpion both are wielding their power. You know, they're both very much wielding their power. The gray lizard is not wielding their power. They're kind of lost off in, almost like for us Catholic people that were raised Catholic, almost like in purgatory, or in a way, you know, lost off in purgatory or something. But I digress. But there's different ways to express the Scorpio energy. I need to do this real quick. You're gonna hear a weird sound. It's just my spray bottle. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now what's going on with the Scorpio moon as far as aspects? The Scorpio sun and moon and the new moon joined for the new moon. It's exactly almost. I mean, look at this. Almost exactly down to the minute. 12 degrees of Scorpio, 12 Uranus, that's 12 degrees of Taurus, 47 minutes, 40 minutes. So, I mean, almost down to the very minute. It's opposing Uranus in a big way. That's the biggest, tightest aspect and the most predominant thing that's going on here. So Uranus wants freedom. So how will the eagle would find freedom? By soaring above, by flying away. You know, soaring up, like changing to higher vibrational, because, you know, you go down those higher altitudes and it's a completely different atmosphere and vibe. So that's what the eagle's energy is capable of doing. The scorpion is cornered and it's going to sting its way out, the lower vibration of it. And then the gray lizard, it's going to be more like an escapism, you know, more like a kind of, you know, just kind of the hermit, or escapism, or maybe, you know, even what comes to mind is like escapism through drugs and alcohol. That's really the realm of Neptune. And Neptune, it is trine Neptune. I mean, it's a pretty wide orb here of 8 degrees, though. I usually don't go higher than 7-degree orb. But at any rate, so this is how do we escape? How do we want to escape? Scorpio is also about making plans and, you know, making plans in secret, you know. If you want to be free, you know, a lot of times you have to, like, say you hate your job and you want to get a new job. You don't just go in there. You start secretly looking for another job. Or if you're trying to get out of a relationship, you know, you start secretly, you know, stashing money away maybe, or looking for a place, you know, finding a way to, you know, making your plan, making your secret plans comes through really strong here. Making your secret plans, but it doesn't have to be, you know, nefarious in that way, like you're going to, you know, but it can be. There can be an element of that in there, but it doesn't have to be. It can be more like, you know, you're working on a project. And the element of being secretive is just really coming through pretty strong for me, you know, on this reading. So, yeah, you want to be free, but you want to also be secret about it until the time for it to be unveiled until it's fully ready, until what I'm getting is till it's airtight. So for some of you, there's some element of it's got to be airtight. Okay, so that's a big, strong thing. And Uranus, here's the thing. There's like a T-square. There's, you know, this sun and moon in the new moon opposed to Uranus and Taurus. And then it's squaring over here with the Saturn, too. T-square in the fixed signs. So we're really wanting change, this Uranian thing, but we're working with fixed signs. And fixed signs don't like to change. So there's that. There's that push me, pull you, or fight in that way. And then there's also the element of Saturn. You know, Saturn is not wanting to go anywhere. Saturn likes where it's at here. But in the sign of Aquarius, you know, Aquarius energy, the ruler of Uranus, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, I should say. You know, there is that element of Uranus has been working with Saturn for a while, working their freedom, trying to find a new way. But trying to find a breakthrough free of the old paradigm so that Saturn can get a foothold in the new reality, because that's what Saturn's really, really good at. about laying foundations, making foundations, laying down, giving a solid structure, as Saturn does rule the skeleton of the body, the bones in the body, the skeleton. And we need structure. Without the skeleton, we would be a lump of flesh on the ground. We need our bones and our body and our skeletal structure. We do need some kind of structure. So Uranus and Saturn, I'm trying to get rid of that little crumb that was on there from the ashes. I think there's one here too. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Sorry, there's a couple little ashes from the smudge on the screen that's bugging me. Okay, so yeah, so it's a dichotomy. You know, it's we want to be free, but we've got Saturn, we've got fixed signs. You know, where the 3 of the 4 fixed signs are here, which don't like to change and don't like to move. And it's a square, a T-square, so that can bring about friction. It can bring about, the word rebellion is coming to mind, rebellion. You know, there could be some scorpionic energy fueling a fire of a rebellion. I could definitely see that. And when I'm saying scorpionic energy, I'm talking about that lower level of the stinging scorpion, you know, not the eagle. I saw that first, and then the other thing that really caught my attention when I opened this chart is that Juno is at 26 degrees of Sagittarius on the galactic center. I'm always aware of that galactic center. I always, you know, it grabs me when I see it in a chart because I have my moon there, and I've been always intrigued by it. Since I started studying astrology, I've been interested and intrigued by the galactic center. Because my moon is 26 degrees of Sag. But anyways, the sign of Juno is there. Whenever anything's aligned with or, you know, involved with this galactic center, what I've noticed is it's a portal to get downloads, absolutely. You know, it's an energetic portal, it's a transformational doorway, you can really get clarity, you can really get downloads. So Juno's there. And, you know, to some degree, Neptune's there. Not Neptune, Venus. Venus and Juno are together there. They're real close. And Venus and Juno, to me, have a very similar energy. They're both about love and beauty. And she was the queen of the gods, I believe Juno was, right? But she was also the most beautiful and everything. And it was all about love and relationships. And Venus is about love and relationships as well. So there's a similarity there. But so Juno, relationships. We could really be getting downloads about these relationships, about how to, and you know, the galactic center, I feel like it's definitely coming from some higher vibratory realms. So therefore, these are going to be messages that are, you know, in the eagle, aligned with the eagle energy, about soaring higher, about taking the high road, about you know, and some people are like, well, I'm pissed, and I am mad as hell. I want to be angry. Yes, you can be angry, but resolution is what really feels, resolution, communication, closeness. These are the things that are coming through to me in the, you know, in the vibes around this Juno galactic center alignment, especially because we bring Venus into the picture. It's also the divine feminine. These are both very much feminine icons, feminine archetypes, and it's the divine feminine. And for what the stuff that my guides have been saying, you know, from the channeled work I've been doing, the divine feminine is so important to unlock all sorts of things, not just for women to rise up. You know, that's a very old paradigm, patriarchal way of looking at things. It's not about that. They're telling me that things are out of balance. And the divine feminine needs to be, it's part of the equation for all sorts of miraculous things to start happening. The atmosphere is not right with this, such a patriarchal hold. And it's not like the women are going to dominate the men or the feminine's going to dominate the masculine. It's going to bring things into energetic alignment to allow for all sorts of things that we can't do right now, as far as, you know, like what we might even call, you know, miracles is what I believe is how they refer to it. So the bringing of the divine feminine is extremely important, and not in a competitive masculine way of fighting against the male energy. It's about that missing piece, or that missing piece of the puzzle, that's going to activate all sorts of stuff. So this is really powerful to do that, for that to be unlocked and unleashed. Now we look at this 26 to 29 degrees, it's sextiling Mercury over here, and it's also sextiling Jupiter. And so this is the way this energy is coming through and can be funneled off into these directions of Jupiter and Mercury. And it's going to, you know, these are beautiful energies. It's going to open the door for communication. And Mercury in the sign of Libra, communicating in a way that is, you know, respectful, courteous, listening to the other person, not just blasting, talking, you know, blasting out these, what do you call those? Talking, not talking points, but, you know, these blasting out, well, it's this and it's this, well, blah, 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 blah. You know, being, you know, armed and ready with your snappy comeback there. It's about really listening and flow of communication. With Jupiter there and the sign of Aquarius, you know, we want to take it to the higher level as well. And Jupiter is trining the Mercury. So that's going to really open up the flow of communication, really open up, and it can help, it can aid in, because the Sagittarian energy is also like the higher mind, you know, higher education, things like that, expanded consciousness. So it can help to relay things. I'm trying to get rid of that bar. There it goes. Okay. It can help to relay things from a higher consciousness point of view, and a more, what I'm getting is more civilized view. Yeah, because people can be downright uncivilized, you know, especially like on social media, or, you know, politics and, you know, sports stuff and different things. People are downright uncivilized. And, you know, Scorpio's not adverse to getting, you know, getting a little wild and animal-like, because it also rules sexuality, you know. Maybe that's a more healthy way to really purge that lower animalistic part of ourselves, you know, through maybe some sexual expression, rather than, you know, being beastly toward each other, you know. This is detaching from the Aquarian energy, is like detaching from the beast. The Sag with the galactic center. This is, you know, bringing the higher mind and the higher consciousness into the 3D reality. And civility. Civility is really a word, and civilized and civility is really a strong word that is coming through for when I'm looking at this thing here. Talking about Sagittarius, though, the South Node and the North Node are Sagittarius, and the North Node and Gemini. You know, they're really coming down to the wire here. They're going to be making the transition, and they always, any big transit, any transit that lasts, you know, a little while here, like say more than a year, when it gets to those final degrees, before it crosses that threshold, you know, it really is like the final expression. So what have we learned from the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius? What have we learned during this nodal transit as a collective? Because in the North Node in Gemini, the first thing I feel is the communication, you know. How have we grown in that way? How have we grown in communication and, you know, speaking to one another? You know, have we become more savage, or have we become more civil? Civil or savage, eagle or Scorpio, you know, Scorpion, you know. You choose your path. That's what the guides are coming through with. Civil or savage, you choose your path. And Gemini there's also an element of duality with Gemini, because it's the twins, you know, and it's the two, there's always positive and negative of every sign, like we just discussed with the Scorpion energy, and with the Gemini and Mercury energy. You know, the downside can be really gossipy. It can be really, you know, spreading rumors, scandals. I always think of the negative Gemini expression as like the used car salesman, a good bullshitter, you know. Somebody who's like a con man, you know, a con artist, I should say, maybe not a man. But that's the negative expression of the Gemini, you know. And then we pull in the Sag energy, you know, it's the last blast of the South Node in Sag. So how have we learned from the past, you know? The South Node is always talking about the past. So how have we learned from learning? How have we grown? How have we expanded our consciousness by learning from our past mistakes, or learning from our past... not mistakes, that's not the right word, but I'm not quite getting the right word here. You know, our past lineage, I guess, is a word that might fit in that instance. So this is really coming into the forefront, and then with the Jupiter and Juno, I mean Venus and Juno here at that galactic center, it's really trying to pull in the very most positive expression of that Sagittarius energy. You know, the higher knowledge, the teacher, the going outside the norm and meeting different types of people, being, you know, around different types of people, not being so tribal, being more, all of this stuff with this and this, it's kind of like this being the citizen of the world kind of a thing. Definitely being a citizen of the world. And that's what it's going to take for us to get to be ready for the next step of what's coming down the pike here, you know, or what's meant to come down the pike, for what many of us are here to do, you know, is usher in this new age of Aquarius. Well, we got to be citizens of the world and stop squabbling amongst ourselves and being childish. You know, that's another thing that the Mercury Gemini energy can be, and Aries energy to some extent. Now, Chiron is still in Aries, and it's making a sextile to Saturn over here. So, you know, Chiron and Aries is, we're still wanting to heal ourselves. A lot of this big love yourself movement has been coming, I've noticed, has been a kind of a trending thing here lately. You know, love yourself, self-care is really coming to the forefront during this time frame as Chiron has moved into Aries. And Aries is the first house, me, myself, and I, you know, so that we're healing that. Heal yourself first before you... you know, before you, what I'm hearing is before you accuse me, take a look at yourself. But not in an accusatory way. And, you know, this self-love movement that is absolutely been happening, you know, it's becoming more and more of a thing lately. And it's great. I'm not knocking it in any way. It's great. I believe that that's true, you know. I believe that is very timely and definitely a factor of the Chiron and Aries. It's how we're healing ourselves here. So it's making a sextile up to the Saturn energy up here. The Saturn energy is, you know, the old school patriarchy, the career, the getting to the top of the mountain, you know, success. You know, it can be really restrictive and, you know, patriarchal in some ways, like stern and, like, you know, controlling and things like that. I think that that's sort of in the sign of Aquarius too. I think that kind of shows us that, you know, that comes with also, instead of trying to control other people and control the outside world or control what others are doing, we really have to do is, you know, look at ourselves here, heal ourselves. Because if you're healed, it's that simple saying, hurt people hurt people. So in other words, people who have been hurt go and hurt other people. So if you're healing your own wounds, that's a big step in being more tolerant and understanding of others, and not feeling like their situation has to change in order for you to be in a better place. So with this sextile energy and dealing with the energy of Aquarius, you know, I feel like that could really be come to the forefront also, and be another very positive thing that could occur. And the energetic frequencies are aligned for us. You know, this has been coming to me a lot lately. It's just like, you know, there's no good or bad in any chart. That we've always known that. I've known that for years. You know, it's how you use the energy. It's how the energy is being expressed. But it's also just how you use it. You can use these energies in very powerful ways to transform your life, or whatever is being evoked. jump on that and ride that, you know, and work that energy. You have you have the momentum. You can have more momentum with these planetary vibrations. Like it's like the wind at your back, the wind on your sails. You know, you can really you could ride that wave and catch that wind. You know, catch that wind in your sail to really help propel you in healing in the different ways. So, you know, you would obviously want to look at that in your own chart too. Then you would factor in, so say, you know, you have Scorpio if in the first or second house, so then this could apply more to your finances. You know, you can look at it a lot of different ways. Next chart we're going to look at is we're getting into eclipse season, so that's going to be something. And it's going to be the last of, as we get into December, will be the last eclipse of the Sagittarius Gemini axis here with the nodal thing, because then we're going to shift in, and then next year, you know, I feel like this has a sort of a precursive energy as to what may be coming up as when the nodes move into Sagittarius and Scorpio, because then we're going to start having the eclipses. I've been looking at these year ahead. I've been looking at the aspects for 2022 because I'm doing all those year ahead readings. So yeah, the Scorpio and Taurus is where all the eclipses are going to start happening, and the nodal transits. So for those of you who have planets in those placements, you know, it's really going to activate your chart. Yeah, if you want me to take a look at that and get into that, that is part of the year ahead reading. I do start with some astrology, and then I go in to do some psychic tarot cards and an animal totem also. So never raise the price on it. It's really reasonable, and it is my most popular reading of the year. It'll be available between now and the end of the year, and then no more. I also put together a look-ahead readings for all 12 signs. These are just general outlooks, but I do actually address the nodal change and where Jupiter's going to be are the two big things I look at in the astrology for that, if you're interested in that. Other than that, I have the soul reading, which talks about nodes and past lives and stuff, and that's like a psychic past life thing that I bounce the energy off your chart. And I have other readings too as well if you want to take a look at it. But take a look at my website. You can check that out. Book 2 of the channeled material is out if you like this higher consciousness kind of galactic channeled stuff. Well, I've got 2 books already out, and I'm working on the 3rd. And you can find all information on that and so much more, my artwork and journals and all sorts of stuff that I have for sale. And that all helps me so much, and I appreciate everybody who does purchase my wares and orders the readings and likes and shares and comments and donates and everything that you do. By subscribing, that lets YouTube algorithm know that you enjoy my content, and it helps me out a lot, and I do appreciate it. Okay, everybody, this is the new moon in Scorpio. Choose your path. Are you the eagle? Are you the scorpion? Or are you the gray lizard? I feel like the gray lizard is almost like letting the universe kind of have its way with you and not utilizing the power of this, I was going to say this eclipse, but actually this new moon. So take hold of it. What does the eagle do? It grabs on with its talons, you know, it grabs on. It takes hold, and then it takes flight. So that's the highest possibility for this new moon energy. Okay, all you eagles, remember that you are love and beauty incarnate. Have the best new moon ever, and we'll speak to you again soon.